I've been like a person that I believe that I'm very friendly. I have a happy family. And I do love, I'm extremely passionate about animals and in general, environment, change of environment, nature. From a professional point of view, I've been pretty much in the world of IT work-wise from the very beginning. I started something completely different. I moved in 95 outside of Romania and I worked in all the fields from IT, from QA, manual automation, BA, PCO, and project management. Project management is very hard to describe in the sense of like definitions and things that the project management is. But if you look around, you would see everywhere projects. We are surrounded by things that were done by people, by teams, by the government, by companies. Everything is governed by projects. Now, what a project manager does is usually coordinating all the efforts of those projects to a successful delivery. Once that delivery happens, any project goes into the mode of, constant releases, which means it stops. So it's an evolving scope from an idea to an absolute finite project or a solution or whatever the company develops. It's important to have that role, and I've never been in big companies that don't have it because it has a lot of, it's almost like a niche type of individual that puts people together and makes them deliver what is required. And it has that attention to details, it has that particular coordination that is required in order to make sure that the project is a success. So in many of the organization, project management is a must. The project manager, usually in an organization that is very established and has that acumen of project management, there is a department that is called PMO. It's a center of excellence for project management, and they divide. They have a lot of PMs that they pull out of that team, and they put them on projects. It's a center of excellence because they develop the framework. They put all the rules that the particular company is interested in. And then the project manager directly reports into the PMO for the terminology and for all the reporting and all that. But from a project hands-on perspective, they report into the business stakeholder. The business stakeholder is the one that actually signs off everything and makes sure that everything is delivered according to what they need. So they usually, for the project, they report into the stakeholder. It's challenging because I always say, you never know what you don't know. A project encompasses so many situations, and it takes you out of the comfort zone until you know that a particular project is already defined and you have the particular skill sets within the team, all the tasks have been defined, and you have identified all the risks so you can deliver. It takes you out of the comfort zone until that moment, but it's also a thrilling experience, I find, because it always changes. What you know now is going to change in a couple of weeks, and you say, oh, I wish I knew that. So it's a constant evolving type of role that I find very thrilling to be in. Yes, this is a good question. Well, I think you can see around us the projects that are well managed and the ones that are not. I'll give you an example that came out recently. It's the way the Americans went out of Afghanistan, the retreat of the Afghanistan. Obviously, there wasn't any project plan, or if there was a project plan to that retreat, it was just a positive. The Taliban is going to go out and conquer Kabul in like 90 days, and it didn't happen. So now all the world watched how the Americans scrambled to get their people out, and they're still fighting for that, which to anyone that is in the project management world, and this is an example of something that went absolutely very bad. So they didn't have a contingency plan, they didn't have a plan B. On the opposite scale, you see projects that, like off the bat, you see that they're wonderfully created. You see the delivery that is like beautifully executed, and everything is coming to place in an orderly fashion. And the example that is very recent is the Olympics. I think it's an the Tokyo Olympics was very well prepared, especially for the pandemic and the things that went in the background. And it's a good project, and everybody benefited from them. So they are very visible. From an IT perspective, you know on your phone when you do an upgrade of something, and you know what version is good for you and what version is not good for you. So it's very simple to distinguish between the two. I guess I have a lot of experience, and it's something that I want to give back to the society, and I think it's something everyone should do in their lifetime to make sure that they pass the baton to the younger generation. It's a normal progression, and it's something that I'm really happy to do. Why Wantsome? Because Wantsome and this family is a beautiful team of passionate individuals, very young and willing to learn a lot of things. So it's just very natural to be with the Wantsome team. My perspective in all the courses that I've been in or I taught is that you cannot just go dry on the theory. There will be the definitions of all the processes, and that's important to know, but I do strive on experience and the use cases of how you're going to create that project that you have from A to Z. It's the steps that you need to take, the risk, the team, and all that. So we're going to do that gradually in the course, week by week, and at the end of it you will know how to create that sequence, and you would be able to step in a junior position, a PM position role. And it's something that I'm going to guide you, but you will be the owner of your own project. So it's going to be very hands-on, I promise you that. Yes, of course, yeah. It's going to be a project. That project will be selected from the very beginning by the candidates. They will work on that project, and they will also have the good critique of all the teams, because it's good to have feedback. Nothing in life is done without feedback. So we will progressively go through the theory as well, enriching the project plan and the project. And at the end of it, you'll have a full plan which is waiting to be delivered. It depends about the study. It depends. I've met in my whole career people that had a lot of certifications and a lot of diplomas, but at the end they were not good project managers. And on the other side, I've met people that were excellent people manager, and they didn't have necessarily all the diplomas in the world. It's a question of what do you need to do with that project management. Is it something that is within the IT world? Then absolutely you will need to have that diploma at the back to work in the IT world. If you have a project management in let's say construction, is the same thing. You need to know the inside out of construction or government or the Olympics. For our example in Afghanistan, you have to be part of the US Army or the Army in general to deliver such a thing. So it's very broad depending on the type of project that is being delivered, but there is no necessarily like absolute guidance. At the end of the day, we in our home, in our life, we deliver projects for the family, with the family as well. And it's, as I said, it's a very broad term. and it can go, depending on the field, you would need certifications and diplomas. In other, no, you wouldn't. Very open, very, very open, because I believe in collaboration, and this is maybe the one-on-one on the project management. Nothing can be achieved without a team. So we will be very hands-on, very much as a team, and very much into discovering the process together in a very friendly atmosphere. That's how I see it. And I have this thought that if you have a question, don't sit on it, ask it, and we'll address it right on the spot. So it's I believe in collaboration. This is how it's going to be. Open, extremely open, and don't be shy. Obviously, ask all the questions. You are the beneficiary of the course, so get what you need out of it. It's more the analytical skills, and also never assume things. So you'd have to be very organized and have that and if attitude if something else happens. So when you are put in that position to create a project plan with a team, you are the one questioning, well, is there something else we need to know? Do we need to have that plan B that we were talking? What do we need to do in order to achieve that? So it's a common sense, it's an intuition, it's analytical skills, something that you already have, but also something that can be formed in the process. It's usually through training, and it's usually through practicing. You go through the training, you need to know what are the skills and how to improve them, and then you put them in practice in every single day. And it becomes more like a second habit, to be honest, because you always, and I'm the one that always says, oh, okay. I might be the one that always say, oh, you know something, this is going to be like that, but let's have a plan B. Let's just play that is not going to go that way and have a plan B all the time in the pocket. So it becomes second nature once you start practicing it, and you understand yourself better and people around you as well. It depends on where the particular individual is when they start. It's something that I usually encourage people to go through the life cycle, especially for IT, to go through a life cycle of skill sets before they reach into the leadership role. But for sure, you can step into a team lead position where you take the responsibility of a group of people. You can also step into a junior position role, project management. And for those people that are already project managers, that will give them that kick to just go a little bit bigger, in the sense of maybe accepting projects that are higher in budgets and get themselves a little bit out of their comfort zone and up. So it's a broad array of roles that they can fill in. There is one certification that is called the PMI. It's done by the PMI Institute, and it's based on the PM book. And we will work with some of the definitions of that course. It's just a matter of individual passion. Do they want to have a certification? Do they just prefer not to? From my experience, what I've seen on the market is some have a hard stop. It's a must that you have the certification. Some companies don't. As I mentioned earlier, it's something that experience matters the most than the theory. So it depends from the hiring manager if they want that certification or not. Be very open, as I said. Open. Be open, be creative, be analytic, look around how you form the team, look at how you spend your money as well, look at all the risks that can come every single day within a project, like a pandemic or things that can occur. Be very curious about the world around you, and then organize certain things to benefit the project. I would start from the zero, ground zero, in the sense that we'll go through step by step definition and practice, assuming that people don't know. And I think it's the best way to just start from ground zero, because everybody in the course will come with different experiences. So we'll start ground zero and we'll build to that level of project management completed one-on-one, so they'll have the knowledge. So the course will be in English. I would have loved to have this course in Romanian, but I'm not that comfortable with all the words in Romanian. So it will be in English, so they need to be able to understand English, they need to be able to write in English and speak in English all the time. It's not necessarily to start reading materials, but be aware of around you, of projects that you see every day, because you will be asked to pick a project that you want to deliver. So think about what is it that you want to do after this course, and then pick that example and work on it in the courses that we'll have. My preference would be that the majority of the work will be done in the class. We will ask sometimes the teams to collaborate within the class, and I want their time, their spare time, their life not to be impacted. We'll make in such a way, we will make the preparation that the use cases and the cases that they're working, they're going to be done through the course. So very minimal outside work, all will be covered in the time of the course. There are two different roles altogether. The BA is managing the requirements on the project. They, at their turn, they are part of the bigger scheme of the project. Some of the BAs can play the role of the PM. It depends on the scale of the project. If there are small little projects, then because the BAs are very close to the stakeholder, it's natural for them to play that role. But usually the PM manages the work of the BA as well as the QA, development, release management, change management, all together. And it's for bigger projects. Budget-wise, we're talking between more than $1 million or more than 1 million in general, euros, whatever the currency might be. But they are bigger projects and they need to have all that regiment of knowledge and experience. Whereas the BA, they manage just the scope of the project and they make sure that that scope is translated properly into the development pieces. If you look at the PMI, the PM books, they are all geared towards the same type of audience, people that manage project. The project, the terminology is absolutely the same all across, being that you're just doing an upgrade of a version upgrade on a phone, or you run the Olympics, or you create some other projects for the government. The theory is the same. The practice as well it depends on the acumen that you bring at the table. The IT projects follow the stream of life cycle, the IT life cycle. It comes with the idea, with the requirements, it goes from the BA, it goes into the development, then QA, change management, and release. It's the same all across. It's just the players might be different, the stakeholders might be different. Within the organizations, you might have organizations that run more agile type of projects, or you might have more iterative or waterfall. Waterfall is a little bit less nowadays, but the concepts behind are the same. The way it's being delivered is different because they all deal with different things. The PM is very diplomatic. The PM spends a lot of time talking to people, talking to the stakeholder. That's one of the biggest roles, to make sure that the stakeholder is always informed of what's happening. The PM spends a lot of the time in meetings with different groups, because they have to sort a lot of emergencies on a daily basis. It can become hectic, especially before the release. It's always something happening and you have to solve. But it is, I would say it's very thrilling, because no day resembles the previous one. So you have to be prepared all the time with something new that is coming to your plate. So in general, project management and projects are all around us. If you look and you walk on the street, you would see the results of many projects. You see the grass that is being cut, you see the flowers, you see a building. In your day-to-day life, you see maybe on TV, you see the Olympics, or you see certain things that have been delivered. So your life is and our lives are in constant touch with projects. So in general, project management is not IT. IT is part of it, but it's about everything else that governs our world. Is something that has been delivered from scratch to the end. And as I said, it can be a building, it can be a restaurant opening, it can be the daily operations of a big restaurant as well. Those are type of projects that happen in our day-to-day life. And I think that once you know how to do it from a theory and practice point of view, you could fill those positions in any type of business. It's just a matter of acquiring the business knowledge as well on top of the PM experience, in order to be able to understand more the structure of the particular things that you're going to deliver. So from a professional point of view, I moved in 95. I went to France to do a master's in linguistics. And then right after that, I moved into Canada. And I have a double degree in physics and chemistry and linguistics. And when I arrived in Canada, I was just amazed of how many opportunities existed in IT at that point in time. So I decided within 3 months, I was hired by a company, a consulting firm in Toronto, and I started my career as a manual tester. And from that point of view, all the way to now, to present life, I've worked in Canada only. Bits of projects I had to do in United States, in New York. But I filled positions to the major financial institutions within Canada. I worked for the Toronto Stock Exchange and for the Montreal Stock Exchange. I've been very passionate about the stock exchanges, and that was one of my goals in my career. I worked in positions of BA, I worked in positions of project analyst. I also worked at some point in time, I switched to the project management, and this is the position that I feel right now. I've been in constant move in my career, because I never liked the idea of being in one place for my whole life. I wanted to experience as many companies as possible, and that's what I did. I have worked for many companies within Canada, and I've managed to go in from an IT perspective, go into those particular roles that are purely IT, and gradually get to the PM role. The IT evolved pretty much from the year 2000 all the way to now. There's been so much advancement on this market that I can't even point to anything in particular. From a perspective of the Canadian market that I worked on, I can see that there will always be that role of project management required, no matter how you're going to deliver, because it comes down to that main person that coordinates the whole effort. And it depends. Right now, some of the projects are smaller in nature, and some of the organization operate in an agile fashion, and you have a scrum master that gets all the activities day by day. But when it comes to rolling it up to the big piece of the program, the risks are still managed within the project management. The actual delivery is being held by the project managers. There's also, within the Canadian landscape, there's a lot of regulations and a lot of things that you deliver them in an agile fashion, but it's also, they need to have that, it's required to have a project manager in the field, because they need to deal with the regulators, and that's something that happens on a constant basis on the financial institution. So the role will continue to exist for as long as we'll have projects. From an IT perspective, it's almost like, you name it, if there's something that has not been done, it will be done within years. So the evolution is so big on this field that you cannot, sometimes you cannot keep up with it, but it's also, there's a lot of positive things that come into play from the IT world that impact our day-to-day life. The course is mainly project management all over the world. The theory is the same for all the projects, no matter that they are run in Iași, Romania, Bucharest, or Paris, London, Toronto, New York. The concepts are the same. The PMI Institute as well has the definitions that are spread all over the world. We're going to use some of those definitions, but the knowledge base is the same. It can be applied anywhere. And at the end of this course, all the candidates, all the folks that are part of this course, they can apply to any job anywhere in the world with the theory and the knowledge that they gained throughout the course. Come with an open mind and come with a project in mind, something that you want to create through the particular course, and you will have the answers, and you will also have the finite delivery of what you wanted to achieve in that course. Because, as I said, we're going to work through practice. We're going to have your plan and everyone's plan in the course evolve to that extent where it's ready to be implemented. And come with that, and also with good English.